Hi, Martin here from Bikes and Biscuits. Just waiting for a van to arrive with two KTM motocross bikes in it that I bought. So when it arrives I'll show you. Got my tea, of course. And today's biscuit, well, it's not a biscuit, it's a Toblerone. Gotta love Toblerone. I've already eaten it actually, some of it. Also, yeah, I like this Christmas present. Yes, a truth. Anyway, as soon as the van arrives, we'll take a look. Just bought a KTM 85 and a KTM 65. The KTM 85's got a blown motor apparently. Other than that, it's all up together. The 65 has got an oil leak from the engine, so we'll have a look at that. But yeah, we'll be getting on and looking at the motor on the KTM 85, seeing what we can do now. So it's the next day now, so I've got it out and I have started it, and it is just like a box of spanners. So I'm not gonna, I'd like to show you that, but I don't want to damage the engine anymore. It really is knackered. So right now, I mean, it needs a full engine rebuild almost certainly, but I'm going to whip the top end off just to confirm that the big end's absolutely ruined. I don't know what else it could be. So yeah, let's get going. Alright, draining out the radiator fluid. Got the exhaust off now. Just wait for that to drain. Probably tip the bike over, I think. Mainly just want to get the top end off so I can feel the big end. As soon as I've verified that's gone, I'll get the motor out. I've got all the nuts off the bottom of the top end. Just giving it a little gentle tap with my nylon hammer, just to release the gasket a little bit. Same on the other side. Not too hard, just gently, just so you can see. You can kind of see when it releases. Looks like it probably has released now. Not too worried about the gasket because it will get a full gasket kit. It's just easier if it comes off in one piece, saves you having to clean it up. And just pop off the power valve activator. There's like a little kind of rose joint, whatever you call it. It's off. Right, and then should lift off in theory. There it is. Barrel's off. Just clear the pipes. Let's have a look. A bit scary looking in there. Oh well. Don't know if you can see that, but top end looks alright. Piston's still in one piece. Well, I knew that because it was actually running. Right. Let's just zoom out a little bit here. Let's have a look. Top big end. Yeah, absolutely fucked. So to test this, obviously they always have side to side. I'm basically pulling up and down on it. And yeah, I don't know if you can see that, but that has loads of up and down movement, at least a millimetre. That bearing be ruined. There we go, just needed to confirm that really in case it was something else bizarre, but pretty sure it was a big end, which it is, so motor's coming out right now. Okay, I've never actually worked on this exact model. I've worked on a lot of two-strokes and motocross bikes, but this one's got a subframe. I was going to take the carb off next, but 4 bolts and you can take the subframe off. The whole thing comes off, so yeah, probably taking that off, I think. I'll get that off. That's quite funny. The whole back of the bike comes off. 4 bolts. You can the whole back. Makes it easy. Right, back subframe's off. I found that is seized in there, but in the chain guard, but it's not ideal. There's some sort of plastic insert in there. Anyway, carb comes off easy then, just leave it like that. And yeah, chain off now. Front sprocket off. Motor out. Alright, to get the motor out, I've got to take the swing arm pin out. So, oh, here it is. Oh, literally fell on the floor there. Alright, and then it's the front engine mount bolt, bottom engine mount bolt, which have got captive nuts on the back, which is quite nice. So I can just them out. I'll get them out. The hydraulic clutch, which is quite a nice idea. It's just like a brake cylinder, brake caliper, sorry. It just presses on the push rod that's there. 3 bolts take that off. Does that unplug? I'll check that out. Might have to take the tank off. Well, it's literally 1 bolt for the tank, and boom, comes off. That's nice, isn't it? Easy peasy. So, in answer to that question, does it unplug? Yes, it does. I get that unplugged and cut that with my trusty snap-on side cutters, bought in 1991. Still going. They're incredible. I got the motor out, but I forgot to do another video. Here it is, out here on the floor. And now we're going to jump to 3 days later, after I ordered all the parts. Alright, so there's just been a knock at the door. Hopefully that is the parts for the engine. Let's go and have a look. Oh, yes. Nice. Let's open it up. Right. Goodies. What have we got here then? Seal kit. Gasket kit. And crank, I guess. Crank and piston? Oh, no, what's here? Oh, is that piston? Piston, is that Mitaka? Well, it's in a foreign language. I think that's Mitaka. It was sold as Mitaka. Nice. And then the crank. Oh, something else in there. Right, I've done it. One nice shiny new crank. And small end as well. I used to buy it all as a kit. I've never actually done that. I always buy it separately, but I must admit, this is good. Nice. A bit better than the one that's in it. All brand new, nice. What's in there? Main bearings? Yay! Main bearing. Main bearing Koyo ones as well, they're good. Nothing else in there. There's the packaging. Right. Ready to go in the engine. And the piston kit. Should I take it out by hand? I'm going to drop that out. One piston. Looks good. All the bits are okay. Set of rings, I guess, are in there. Gudgeon pin. Circlips. They can go on the chicken. Nice, so yeah, unless there's anything else wrong with the engine, which I don't think there will be, that should be enough. Ready to go in the bike. I got this kit from Motorsport Services on eBay. Very good. Now it's time to get back outside and fix the bike. Right, just before I rebuild the engine, I'm going to give it a jet wash because it's a lot easier to clean it when it's together. So for that I've put the top end back on. And I've plugged all of the holes with rag and tape and so on. It doesn't matter if a little tiny bit gets in, but obviously I don't want the engine to be full of water inside. Right, so I'll get that done and I'll see you in the next bit. Hi, okay, so it's the next day now. So obviously the engine is dried up nicely after jet washing. And yeah, now I've got it sitting on my bench. Well, not my bench because it's pretty messy. I kind of use this workmate like this. It's quite tidy. And actually, let me just turn the camera on. Yeah, ready to go. I've got all the parts down there in the box as shown. And using a power driver, I'm just going to start going. Off we go. Oh, I should have said this has a hydraulic clutch. Actually, the way the clutch lever comes off is really nice. Just one bolt, and then you flip that part up. Flip that part. It's nice. But yeah, that's why that's attached to it. But yeah, I've just started taking that off. Let's have a look. Bit tight, that one. Nice. Whoops. So yeah, just a little hydraulic unit, like a brake caliper. And that just pushes the clutch push rod. It's nice, tidy. Alright, so to take the flywheel off, I'm going to use an impact gun because they can be hard to get off otherwise. It makes light work of it, but I might have been there for ages with a socket set or something. Next, to get the flywheel off, you're going to need a flywheel puller. They don't cost much. It's got a left-hand thread on the outside, and then the bulb is right-hand thread. And it pushes against the crank. And if I've got the right size spanner, I haven't got all my tools here. Be adjustable. Use a proper spanner if you can, but I don't have the right one here, unfortunately. Sometimes even with these pullers I've had real trouble getting them off, and you have to give the end a crack with a hammer, but that one's pretty easy. Yeah, it's all in good condition. All good. I'll leave that on the crank just for now. Because it's magnetic, I'll probably wrap that up in a cloth so it doesn't attract iron particles. Next is taking off the stator plate. Now, okay, taking off the stator plate. I want to make sure that the timing stays as it is. I'm assuming the timing was right. It might not have been, but who knows? The big end's gone. Maybe the timing was off or something. Who knows? But obviously, if it was pinking a huge amount, getting pre-ignition might have affected the big end a little bit. Probably check that afterwards. But for now, I'm going to assume that it's correct. So usually on engines, there's somewhere you can put a little mark with a chisel or something. I usually just create a little mark between the stator plate and the casing, but there really isn't anywhere. So what I've done instead is just use a black marker pen, colour in these areas, so that hopefully when I take them off, it'll leave a witness mark and I'll be able to put it back in the right position. That's the theory anyway. I'll just check that actually, let's just see how that's worked. Yeah, it's not bad, is it? As long as I don't rub off the black, that's fine. Right, let's get that off. Right, stator's off. There's actually a clue here as to why that big end's gone. Maybe because crankcase seal's leaking. That makes the motor run lean, so the motor's going to start running a bit hot, a little bit hotter than usual, over revving as well. Might not have been the reason, but it could have been. It wouldn't have been running at its best with that seal leaking, that's for sure. So yeah, that feels good to be rebuilding it. Okay, I'm just taking off the reed block now. I've undone the bolts. It's V-force, which has got that W formation. I think that gives more surface area, and the shallower angle gives effectively more port duration, I think. Anyway, they give more power. Okay, now I'm going to take the top end off, just taking the power valve off again, because I put it back on to jet wash it. I usually, the bits that I'm not sure I remember where the bolts go, stick them in bags, kit form. Just makes it so much easier. And then into the box, just so much easier. Alright, before we take the engine further apart, I'm going to drain the oil. Could have done that first, I guess. As long as I do it before I take these bits apart, all good. Sometimes I do it before I take the motor out. Just didn't this time. Pretty easy though, just stick it on a bucket, let it drain. To take the circlips out, I just use a little tiny, my favourite pair of skinny pliers, on those pliers. Can't really do it and hold the camera, but you know, you get the idea. I've already taken it out. There it is. It's an earless one. So yeah, let's get the piston off. One piston and a little end removed. Don't really need those, but sling them in the box anyway. What I do need to keep is the woodruff key. Woodruff, that's a funny thing. So I'll get that out. Little thing, look, woodruff key. Keys the flywheel to the crank, of course. Needed for the new cranks, doesn't come with one. Should do, shouldn't it, really? You would think. Right, so go back to the impact gun to take these off. Just so much easier. Yeah, nice. Okay, all the clutch housing bolts are out, and then I use a plastic hammer, not a metal one. Just because this engine probably hasn't been apart for a while. Just tapping gently all the way around, break the gasket. They have these little, I don't know if they are for tapping, but anyway, I usually just tap there gently. That's that one. No, I don't know, I've never taken one of these exact motors apart. I've taken loads of different ones, but goes on. Oh yeah, that's nice. Comes apart as one unit. Some engines, all sorts of bits fall out, but that's really tidy, isn't it? Nice. That's what you want, isn't it? Everything to stay in the clutch housing and everything to stay on the engine. Right, next step. Look how skinny the clutch gear is. Gosh, seriously skinny on this KTM 85. Okay, to get the primary drive nut off, aluminium bar, you could use brass. Jam it very carefully between the gears. I've seen people use another gear, but who's got one of them? I suppose you could use that, but that's a bit rude, isn't it? The idea is that this is softer and it takes the damage. I've seen YouTube videos of people using another gear, but I'm not sure what KTM recommend. And then I'm going to use a breaker bar to get that off. Yep, got it. Luckily it wasn't ridiculously tight. You just break the Loctite in it. Obviously they got Loctite in. There we are. Fold back the tabs on the clutch basket nut and then we'll take it off. Yeah, inside the engine. This is the clutch plates. Okay, getting the clutch basket nut off, quite tricky. I basically hold the sprocket, the gearbox sprocket, with a strap, put it in gear, which I've already done, and then I'll use the impact gun. I can't really do it because I've got to hold that, but I'll use the impact gun on there. Okay, so I've got the primary drive nut off, and to get the primary drive off, ideally you would use a puller. I've got one at the workshop, I don't have it here. I'm just using an aluminium bar, wood to protect the casing, and just, it does actually slide off, so I'm just using, tap it a little bit, and it's coming off. Each side gently, there it is. There it is. There we go. When I store the clutch basket in the inner, I normally do this so that the thrust washer stays in the right place. There's a thrust washer in between the two, tab washer and nut, all tied together, then they can't be lost and you don't forget where they go. Right, now onto the casing bolts. Hold the two casings together. Might seem overkill, but I bag the bolts up and label them because I don't know when I'm going to build the engine. Hopefully tomorrow, but you never know, do you? Might be 3 months if life takes over and you want to know what's what. Okay, splitting the cases, put the nut back on, the generator nut back on the crank. Don't do it all the way up, so that you've got a little, so it sits a bit proud, and then you can just gently tap the crank. Node-on hammer. That's going to knock the crank out of the bearing. The bearings are being replaced anyway, so we're not too worried. You can tap here gently. Don't put a screwdriver in here or anything, but you could use a soft aluminium bar, just really, really gently. I can feel that go now, so there we go. Right, taking that off. No harm done, although I'm not keeping the crank, so I guess I could have just whacked it, but often you do keep the crank webs. Interesting, it doesn't use a regular bearing, it's got like a cylinder roller bearing. Don't know what bearings I've got, they're in the box. Hopefully it's the same. There we go, so the motor's split. And let's take the crank out. And I can see that that big end is absolutely ruined. I don't know if you can see it there. Absolutely disintegrated. Wow. Gosh. Okay, crank's out. I've got to get that bearing out next, but been on my feet for a while, so time for a cup of tea. Back in a moment. And tea was in my own business mug, which is Bike Ventures, which is a business where I sell electric bikes. You can check that out. I'll put the link below. But yeah, let's get back to the engine building. Same thing with the seal. Not worried about it because I've got another one. Just found a socket that's the right size. It should just knock out. Sometimes you need heat, but straight out. It's disappeared off somewhere. There it is. And yeah, there it is. Seal and bearing out. Okay, got the bearings out and seals out. Now I'm going to clean up the gasket face. I just use a long knife blade carefully away from the bearing so the crap doesn't go inside. Right, I'll get that cleaned up. Okay, I didn't film me taking the seal out of the gearbox shaft, but what I did was heat up the casing, and I sprayed a bit of Magic Lanagard in there, available from lanagard.co.uk, and that just is such an incredible penetrant. It's not what it's sold for. It's an anti-corrosive spray for your underbody of your car, but it also is an incredible penetrant. And almost as soon as I put that on there, I could literally just pop the seal out. It was really incredible. Previously it wouldn't come out at all. So now I'm going to heat up the casing. I just literally just use a hairdryer, and then I'll pop the seal in using the same method. I'll just use a socket. There's the brand new seal. Okay, so I heated up the casing, just can't quite touch it, even just a hairdryer is enough. And then I tapped it in with the socket and then just finish it off with this just gently. Make sure it's completely flush. Just checking. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Right, that's that done. Okay, I've now put that new gear shaft seal in and the gearbox output shaft seal in. I've got this main bearing in, it's held in by tape because the inner falls out otherwise at the moment. I've also fully cleaned up all this gasket surface very carefully with a blade and some very light emery cloth. See, that's really clean. I'm not taking the gearbox out. I was just very careful when I cleaned it up, and then blew it out, and I'll do a flush when I put the engine back together. It just saves any errors in getting thrust washers in the wrong place or anything like that. That's what I prefer to do. I've also changed this bearing. It's a brand new bearing now. I'll put that bearing in. So now, gasket. Different people do this different ways, but I just use regular grease. That's always worked for me. Very clean surface. Cover them in grease. Put it on the location dowels. And yeah, that's ready to go. The crank's in the freezer, so that should, we hope, just drop straight in. I'll leave that connected and then obviously cut that off later. Right, I've put the two cases together now. Put the crank in the freezer, same as I did with the bearings. Heated up the bearing inners with the trusty hairdryer. It's enough, gets them quite warm enough. And yeah, went together really nicely. I greased the gasket as I said. I just got to cut these bits of the gasket up and tidy that up. And yeah, that's it. New crank. Very nice. New crank, new seals, new bearings. And that's it for me. It's 10 PM, just gone, so I'm going to stop. Okay, it's a few days later now. Just got busy with other stuff. coming back to the KTM now. Got the bottom end built up, as you've seen, and yeah, so to get on with it now. But just before I carry on with the engine, I mean, I'm not looking to do this whole bike up. I mean, it's well used, but I am going to just clean up the frame rails a bit. Quick rub down and a little bit of tough paint on there. So let's go with that. Okay, so I've got the radiators off. Didn't really want to take those off, but I mean, I was just going to tart up the bottom rails, but look at it. Someone's painted it without rubbing it down. Totally rude. You can see here, no, just nothing. It's the original shiny frame. Why do people do that? So yeah, I'm not going to do a brilliant job, but I'm using the wire wheel. And yeah, let's get it cleaned up. All right, here's the frame finished. It's not perfect, but it's pretty decent. I mean, for a 20-year-old bike, I'm not doing a perfect restoration here, just to clean up. I've done it properly, rubbed it all down, degreased it all, used a really good quality paint, and yeah, looks alright. Now, back to the engine. Hi, alright, it's a few days later. I've got the bottom end built, as I said. So I'm just going to swap the camera around and show you where I'm at. So yeah, now it's clutch time. Just putting the primary drive on. I've put the idler gear with the kickstart on. So that's all good. Just a circlip. Yeah, now I'm going to put the clutch basket on. So yeah, let's get on to that. So I think, as I said earlier in the video, I sometimes do things like this, cable tie it together, so when I come back to it a few days later, there's no question about what went where. Make sure you keep the thrush washer, super important. So yeah, it's I kind of kit it as I take it apart. Alright, so yeah, thrush washer on. Clutch basket was wrapped up nice and clean. Drop that on. Check it engages. All good. A little bit of a wipe round. I normally fill them up with oil, run them a little bit, and then drain it out and put new oil in. Just obviously because it gets exposed to dust and little bits of whatever when you're building it. Because I'm not doing it in laboratory conditions, as most people don't. So yeah, check that the space has gone on. There's also another thrust washer. Can't say it. Thrust washer. Just giving it a little clean. There it is. You can see from the witness marks which way it went. Obviously went that way. Had a little bit. There's a little bit of wear on that actually. Possibly could justify a new one, but for what it is, I don't think so. Plenty of material left there. It's still doing its job. And that goes. All good. Tab washer. Main nut. Now let's find some tools to do these nuts up. Alright, so they're both on. Both using Loctite 242 thread locker. And that's got a tab washer, that one. They're both done up to the exact correct factory torque spec, which is, as it says in the manual, effing tight. And it doesn't specify whether that's fairly or some other effing, but they are effing tight and they do need to be that. Ideally you'd torque those to an exact spec, wouldn't you? But this is a fairly old bike, old motor, don't have a torque wrench in this workshop. So effing tight it is. Never had a problem with that, especially with the Loctite as well, they're not coming off. Alright, time to put the clutch plates in. Same thing with the clutch plates, I wrap them all together so I know where I'm at. I know they went that way round, so they're all like a matched set then. I'm sure it'd be fine if you didn't do that, but it just puts it back exactly as it was without any issue. So flip them upside down. I know which order they go in. Now some bikes have like a weighting thing, you have to put them in a certain way, but this doesn't look that way. They're completely symmetrical. So, and on some Yamahas you have to be careful how you put the plates in. So anyway, I'll get that done. Clutch plates are in. Don't forget the clutch push rod, thrust washer. Obviously you can't have a bearing against aluminium, it has to have a very hardened steel thrust washer on it. There's no particular position for this. Some have, like this. No, just drop it on, drop in, right, springs, screws, right, I'll get on with that. Alright, so just about to put the clutch housing back on. I might paint it, it's pretty bad, isn't it? But anyway, I thought, let me check out the water pump impeller. Check this. Turn it from the inside on the gear. Yeah. I think we know why the big end went. There was no water cooling going on. There would have been water in there, but it wasn't moving because the impeller is utterly ruined. So yeah, big ends don't just suddenly go, they wear out. It's just a bearing. So I thought that was a bit weird, but there we go. Yeah, rebuild needed. Okay, I've decided to give the engine a coat of paint. I've got this colour, it's pretty close, isn't it? Just Halford stuff. The engine doesn't get that hot, it's not like an exhaust, you don't really need special paint, I've found. So yeah, sander time. I'll get on with that and then we'll do the middle of the engine and we'll go from there. Alright, so I've sanded it down and used a wire wheel, and then I've painted it, just Halford's paint. I actually heat it up with a hairdryer first, so I get the case nice and warm. I've always found that to work really well. It makes the paint adhere. I don't use a primer. I've never found I've needed to on aluminium. I know they say X primer, but my experience is that this stuff just grips if you heat it. So that's that one done. This one I've done the same. That's the clutch housing, but I've decided I'm going to do it black actually. So yeah, we'll see. Okay. That's one coat. Give it one more. And now back to some engine building. Alright, so I got the impeller out when I took the case to bits and took the bearing out. Glad I did that. I did look at the bearing and think it might be right. I could see that side of it. It looked okay, but I thought, well, it's had an impeller meltdown, it's got to be pulled out, isn't it? And yeah, not good. It had melted plastic all over it. I'm not showing that here, but it wasn't good. I bought this upgrade kit with a metal impeller. Don't really need that, but I guess it goes with the impeller. So that will stop this happening again, even if I sell the bike. I want to sell it with basically an engine flaw in the design really. And a new bearing. I usually use SKF or Koyo bearings. I'm sure there's other good ones, but they've never let me down. So high quality. I was going to say Japan, but it says Italy. Whatever. Yeah, so let's put those in. Heating it up with the hairdryer first, and then dropping it in, and then dropping the seal in. Right, there's the clutch housing on, and the water pump cover. Looks good. Yeah, gasket all seated nicely. Right, onto the top end. Alright, little trick to get the earless gudgeon pin clips in. Put them in deeper first, just shove them in. Put the gudgeon pin in from the other side, and then hopefully push the gudgeon pin in. Just simply push it, and the clip just drops in, rather than fiddling about trying to get that in from the outside. Just clips in and seats perfectly. Just double check it. Yeah, it's all good. I couldn't really show you how I do the second clip, but basically I put the ears in that side, and then I grab it with the pliers and kind of twist it in one go. I don't try and push it in with a screwdriver or anything like that. So I use this cutout here to these really thin on those pliers. It works really well. Yeah, sorry I couldn't show you that. Alright, that's as far as I'm going today. Time to chill. Top end's on, reed blocks on, cleaned that all up, inspected it all looking good. Yeah, power valve is not on yet. Power valve casing, sorry. But yeah, getting there, isn't it? Alright, so it's a few days later and I've now got the motor in the bike. I didn't video that because I'm on my own, and yeah, it's quite a hassle getting that swing arm in. Couldn't really hold the camera and do that. Yeah, I've got the kickstart on. Everything's on this side. Gear lever on, and just putting the generator on. Then I'm going to check the squish. I'll do that in a minute. Alright, so I've got the generator on. Haven't got this on yet. Chains on. And yeah, that's it for today. Be coming back soon. I actually didn't video me putting the tank and the back mudguard panels on, but here is the bike finished. It came out pretty well. I was not intending to do it this well actually, but yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out. And now let's see if it starts. Alright, let's see if it runs. It's all up and running. Bit of choke. I actually had a problem with the exhaust gasket, so it wasn't sounding right, so I put a new gasket on, and now let's try it. Sounds much better. And here is the finished bike, KTM SX85 2005 model, full engine rebuild, and lots of parts cleaned up, lots of new parts. Hope you enjoyed watching that and maybe learned a few things. And please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.